Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and this is our weekly TV news show. Of course, we talk about all this week's TV news. We do some quick stuff at the start, then we talk about all the new shows that are in development and all that kind of thing. We had New York Comic Con this past weekend, so there should be a few things from there, although not as much as you might have thought there would be. I felt when I actually looked through it, but
there's a healthy smattering.
But yes, we got all that. But we also use this to give any updates on Male Fuzz TV as a whole. On the YouTube channel, all the stuff that we have coming up in terms of TV reviews. At the end of the video, we also talk about our favourite episode of TV of the week. We also pick that, and no points for guessing which one's winning this week. I'm fairly confident that both of us will be making the same choice.
Yeah, I posed a hypothetical to Peter about what's counting this week. And I was very clear that it was a hypothetical because it doesn't really matter.
Yes, because there's a couple of sticky points here. One, obviously, the DC shows came back this week on the CW, but as we announced previously, we will be covering them as one sort of video, one sort of podcast episode at the end of the week. So we'll be doing that sort of Sunday. It'll be late Sunday, which is, I admit it's a little bit awkward that that's going up so soon before the next Supergirl goes up. It feels really kind of late at that point, but it's just where it fits into our schedule in the week, and we still wanted to cover them. So as it stands, I've watched the three we're covering, which is Supergirl, Flash, and Legends. Connor's only watched Supergirl so far.
Yeah. Are you not watching the first episode of Arrow? I know you mentioned that you might.
I might. Like, I'm not. This is the thing. When it gets to Sunday, I know we'll be doing it soon. I'll be like, maybe I'll just watch the first one to see.
So it's a shame that this week is so busy, because otherwise I'd have gone, screw doing any more Mindhunter. I'm getting drunk and watching Arrow, but just for old time's sake.
So yeah, so that's coming. That's called Television from the Multiverse. So that's what we're naming it, because it kind of pairs with our DC Comics podcast that we talk about comics on, because that's called Comics from the Multiverse.
And Peter wanted to do a fancy name.
I did. So Television from the Multiverse is what that's called. So that will be up at the end of the weekend. So you can look forward to that if you want to hear our thoughts on those. But of course, if we've watched them, then they also count for best episode of the week. Now, I don't think there's any chance of any of those winning this week. Not that they weren't good. I'm not going to spoil my thoughts on them. They could have been good. They could have been bad. They could have been completely in the middle.
But the competition
makes it null and void.
It's just unfair on pretty much everything else. Let's be honest.
Yeah. So that's how it stands. So we had those back this week. We also, of course, had the return. And nothing to do with what Connor was just saying. We had the return of Mr. Robot. Season 3 started this week. We were excited to have that back. So the first review of that's up. We're actually treating that like we did Twin Peaks, in that we are taking notes. I am watching it twice before we talk about it. And the result is a slightly more in-depth, scene-by-scene discussion, which, at least this first one, was about 7 to 8 minutes long.
I have to say, I enjoyed doing it this way.
Which is strange. Connor's suggestions usually are about how do we make things shorter, how do we do less work.
But when I'm so into a show like that, I really just like, I want to break down every detail.
Yeah, so that is the format for this season. Hopefully that's something that people enjoy a bit more. So yeah, first review of that's up. Check it out. It was a great episode, so you can get the full details on that. So that was a thing. Also, of course, Netflix's new show Mindhunter launched today at the time of recording. The first review we recorded earlier, we put it up just before we started doing this. We actually, that went live and then we started recording this, so you can check out the first episode of that. The plan right now is to keep doing it. We liked it enough to want to check out more of it, so episode 2 will be sort of late tomorrow, or late tonight by the time this goes up, probably Saturday, and then we'll try and hit one a day from then on it, which we should more or less hit. I don't see us not hitting. No. Sunday might be a slight challenge, but we'll probably work it out. We'll probably get it done. So that's everything that came out already so far this week. Obviously, there's more Mindhunter coming from us in terms of reviews. Coming next week, we have, or actually just this weekend, the finale of Room 104 is on. So that's the end of that season, so that's pretty cool. Was there anything else before I announced the thing we're dropping?
Yes, there is. The most important thing coming next week. Please, you've forgotten this again. Star Wars Rebels is back on Monday.
No, so
with
there's
a
nothing.
Double episode.
So there's nothing coming next week of importance that's new. That's fine. So yeah, there was a bit of unfortunate news.
I can't believe I managed to get that again.
We did have to make a cut to one show that we do. Now, obviously, you could probably guess that we might have had to do this because the whole reason why we condensed the DC shows a bit is because we were looking to sort of lighten the schedule a little bit because there was too many shows, and we had to kind of tie it down a little bit. And one of the factors that will come into play if we decide to cut a show is, are people actually watching the review? Are people enjoying it? And that's one's a bit of a shame because we do actually enjoy the show, and the people who do watch the reviews seem to enjoy us doing the review. However, the interest in The Exorcist this season compared to last season is very different. It's much smaller.
And unfortunately, that's not just in relation to us. It seems the interest as a whole in the show, judging by numbers, is kind of down.
Yeah, our reviews last year did really well, and then this year they're not doing that well at all. And it's a shame because actually we've enjoyed the 2 episodes we've covered of The Exorcist this year. It's that plus the fact that it's on a really awkward day, which because it's on a Friday night, and typically we get to it on a Saturday after we do our comics podcast, and that's prime Netflix binge show time to get like more Mindhunter in this case up. So the decision's been made to drop it. It's a shame. We kind of it's typically whenever we've dropped shows, it's just because we flat out don't like them or we don't think they're interesting enough to talk about. This is one where it's like, no, we actually do kind of like it, but the situation just dictates it. So apologies to anyone that's upset by it. It
is because we're upset by it as well. We liked it.
Yeah,
and it's just too much TV.
Yeah, the more shows that come out and the more shows that we really want to cover, inevitably there was going to be a time where we'd have to start cutting some things that either because we weren't as into them as the rest of the stuff, or in this case it was just because not as other people just weren't as into them as much as the rest of the stuff, and that's okay. So Exorcist unfortunately is gone. I still recommend checking it out though if you've been enjoying it.
Oh, definitely.
By all means. I've enjoyed at least where it's going so far this season. But so last week's episode 2 of season 2 was the last one we'll be covering. So there you go. So with that out of the way, with the negative thing out of the way. Actually, there's one more negative thing. I was going to do this at the end when we were, because when we plug at the end and talk about Patreon, but some people have turned off by that point. So you know what? I'm going to do it now.
Yeah, this is important.
I'm going to do this now. I want to complain about YouTube. Because after all, we present this as updates to the channel as a whole. And this is relevant to the channel as a whole. Basically, this week, if you don't, the adpocalypse, which is what it's been dubbed by the community, is YouTube deciding to basically deem that certain videos are not fit for advertising because they're worried that certain content is inappropriate and the advertisers don't want videos talking about certain subjects or certain sort of adult content and that kind of thing, and so some of it makes sense, some of it is just them being completely paranoid and completely worrisome.
Yeah, and we've tried our best to keep the content safe.
Well, yeah, this is the thing, we think honestly, none of our content is even remotely in this category. The problem is, though, is that YouTube don't manually check these things. They use an automated system. They flag keywords. They do this kind of thing. And we had somehow escaped this until yesterday. Yesterday, went into the YouTube channel in the creator bit, the non-public section, and all of a sudden, dozens and dozens and dozens of our videos are now unfit for advertising, which is kind of a big deal because we do make a little bit of money from YouTube, and that might be impacted. It's too soon to say how exactly much that'll impact us. I can say right now that every single horror movie review, which is a lot because me and Tim do those every week, are now unfit.
You say you do them every week. You do 4 a week.
No.
At the minute.
We do 2 a week regularly. October's different. October's the Octoberthon. We've been pumping them out as a special occasion, but so we are now potentially making next to nothing on those because it says it's unfit for most advertisers, which I'm just going to assume means none. But so the weird thing is the TV stuff and the other movies that weren't horror. So it's weird that they're singling out horror, like it's extreme because it's a horror movie discussion, which is silly in and of itself. But the other thing is that we put up our Mr. Robot review yesterday, and it immediately got flagged as unsuitable, which didn't make a whole lot of sense. Now, it actually just recently be unflagged and is now suitable for advertising after about a day, but that's really frustrating because most YouTube videos get most of their views in the first day. So this is really annoying. We are pissed about it. We can't really do a whole lot about it though,
Yes, because YouTube is shite and it has no systems to fight it whatsoever.
no, unless you get a really large amount of views, in which case it deems you big enough to to actually look into. We're not that big, so because of that, they don't give a shit. So that was just really just to get that off my chest and let you know that was happening. Of course, and it also means if we're making less money from YouTube, you might be more inclined to go over to the patreon.com/MailFuzzTV and help us out. Even if it's just $1, $1 makes a difference. Never feel bad if that's all you want to give. That is absolutely okay. But that ends the pity speech.
We're just annoyed at YouTube because
Mostly annoyed at YouTube, but it seems obvious to promote the Patreon as soon as we complain that YouTube is basically restricting what we didn't make a whole lot of money, but what little we did make that helped cover some costs are gone, or potentially at least halved, or maybe more than halved. We actually don't know yet. It's hard to tell, but. So that's the new status quo. So that kind of sucks. But we wanted to get off our chest because it really pissed me off yesterday when I discovered it. When there's no reason, there is absolutely nothing about a movie review. Even if it is a movie review for Slumber Party Massacre, it's a goofy slasher movie. We're not.
That's it. I would consider our content PG-13, which to most advertisers is fine.
And to be fair, it's only PG-13, depending on what we're talking about. Like if we're talking about something that's not, then it isn't, kind of thing.
Yeah. But even just the occasional use of saying "oh shit," something like that. That's probably enough for PG-13. But that's it.
So here we go. And they don't even give you a reason either. Like they're not giving us a reason for any of them. It's not even like they say, "oh, this has extreme content," or "this has
No, it's just like screw you.
So
that's it.
That sucks. But with that out of the way, let's actually get to the news, and we can talk about what happened this week.
News that's not about us.
Yeah, news that's not about us, which is really what you're here for, I assume. So, some quick things to kick off. Premiere dates abound. We have the premiere date for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 5, which is interesting because this popped up actually just after we recorded last week. And I think maybe it wasn't last week, maybe it was the week before, we were debating on this show as to when it might come up, because Connor was convinced there's no way it's coming now before the end of the year. It's going to start after Christmas.
I stand by my thought process when I said that.
Yeah, but I should have really bet hard against you, because I'd have been right. I would have been right, because it's coming December 1st, and they're kicking off with a double episode. What is very odd though is that if they're taking a break for Christmas, and network TV takes a break for Christmas, they've really only got about 3 Fridays before it's time to take a break.
Yeah, so 4 episodes, including that first double.
Yeah. But at the very least, it does mean that after Christmas there shouldn't be a whole lot of breaks, because
in theory, yeah. But it's still just crazy that they're coming back at that point in the year.
That's it. I'm excited to have it back, so I'm not complaining too
much. I will
much.
say the one thing I am a little concerned about is it feels like a death slot for it, doesn't it? I mean, we know already. We spoke how they didn't really want to renew it. They don't really care about it anymore.
Well, that's fine then. If they wanted to cancel it and they were told to renew it, this to me says that they know it's their last season. So it doesn't really matter if it's a death slot.
No, I mean, hopefully it is. My concern is if the reason they wanted to keep it around was because it needs to build to something next year, and they're like, no, we want it there for next year or whatever. When it would be a season 6.
I feel like, yeah, death slot that does kind of feel applicable, but given that I think the show is on its last season or seasons at this point, I'm not particularly worried. I don't really care if it gets low ratings as long as they finish it and it's fine.
I think my big concern is, assume if it does get a season 6, I feel like the budget may be impacted, and that would be a shame for what could be its final season at that point. Again,
I don't know. This just feels like pure speculation to me. I don't. Why do you think there's a season 6 plan? Why do you think it's because they want to plan to something else?
I'm just saying, because that would tie in with Avengers at that point, wouldn't it? Season 6, that back half
season
would
5
tie in.
would.
Season 5 is it? Am I misjudging?
Avengers is this May coming up.
I'm misjudging where it is, clearly. Fair enough. Ignore me.
Such an idiot at times.
I don't pay it. There's too many Marvel movies. What can I say?
Such an idiot. All right. So that's it. See, that's you did that to me. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is back December 1st with a double episode. Next up, The Tick, the second half of season 1, is returning on February 23rd. There was a short trailer that came out with this. I didn't watch it though. I didn't want to actually see the rest of it.
I didn't watch the trailer, and I didn't really look much into it. But the one thing I took away from the panel was they promised more Danger Boat.
They did promise more digital, but the other thing I took is, remember we were talking about how we thought season 1 was 10 episodes and it means the next chunk might only be 4. That was incorrect. There's 12 episodes total, so the next chunk is 6, which is actually one more technically than last time because we already had the pilot. So
Oh, good. So it's an even 6-6 split,
yeah,
kind of.
yeah. So we're getting 6 episodes on February 23rd. I am excited to be like that show a lot actually. So and I'm glad it's not too far away. It's quite early in the year, so cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of Amazon, they have announced the premiere date for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, or Maisel, or however you pronounce it. It's coming November 29th. Not one for us, I don't think, but I thought it was worth mentioning because it was one of their big promoted shows that's coming up.
I'm not sure what it is, I'll be honest.
I didn't get this. We've talked about it like 3 times before. I remember talking about it.
I think that just shows you how little I care about whatever this is. The fact that I don't remember what it is.
Well, here's something you do care about.
You said that in a really ominous tone. What bad news are you about to drop on me?
I will say that I've basically got into a pattern now. Unless it looks particularly interesting, I'll just ignore news from Freeform. But when I saw what this was,
I know where you're going with this.
I'm like, oh no, I have to tell Connor about this. He'll be upset with me if I don't tell him about the Mermaid War show.
Tell me they haven't cancelled it.
It's got a date.
Oh, exciting. When is it?
Sirens is... it's actually a little bit far in advance, given the time, but Sirens is going to premiere March 29th with a double episode.
We're doing it, by the way.
We don't have to.
No, we do for this one. No more, but we have brought this up far too much to not do that first.
Have to be a double? God damn it. This is going to be terrible. You know it's going to be terrible.
I know it's going to be terrible, but we need to do it. It's got a reputation. It's become a myth, and that has to be discovered.
All right. Okay. Next up, we got a couple of trailers, interesting trailers that dropped this week. Both for Hulu shows that are coming up. The first of which, the show's coming in 2018, no exact date yet, but it is the Stephen King kind of shared universe show called Castle Rock, with different plots going on, seemingly. We got a look at this. There wasn't a whole lot of dialogue, there was only one little bit at the end, but it was a lot of like silent shots as music played through. So you can check the trailer out of this if you look for it online. What did you think of this?
First, just something that I found really notable was there was a lot of different characters and a lot of different locations in this trailer, which suggests that they're further along than I thought. Because usually, early trailers, they kind of stick to limited things. There's only so much shot.
You thought they weren't that far along
I
with
didn't
filming?
think it was that far along in production, no. I didn't think it was... I mean, I thought it would be a very basic trailer, but it's actually quite a lot in it. So maybe there's more done than I thought.
I think what it says to me is that maybe the way the episodes play out is you'll have like 3 or 4 of these plots going set, and they might interlink at times, but they'll feel relatively separate. Like, this will be this character story, this will be this character story, and they'll interlink. So I think that's why maybe it is all these different characters in different locations, because they're all kind of doing their own thing. So even if they've only shot 2 episodes so far, it's they've got a variety of things. I like the trailer. I don't know. I will say it felt maybe not as highly produced as maybe I was expecting, but at the same time what is there was really effective. There's one shot of like a serial killer with a mask on in like a boiler room that I thought really stood out as a really good creepy moment.
I think it had a good tone.
Yeah, there was a lot of little things. I didn't notice. I mean, I'm not a big Stephen King guy in terms of noticing like references to stuff. I did notice that there was Shawshank Prison though.
Well, they made a point of highlighting that at the end, didn't they? Like, it just sits on Shawshank.
They did, but at least before that, I still kind of went, "Oh, is that Shawshank?"
Yeah.
So Shawshank's playing a role. I'm sure avid fans of his books will be noticing other things in here that are relevant to what's going on.
I've been working my way through bits of Stephen King over the year. I'd never really read much before last year. I've read a couple now. I'm working on some at the minute still. I'm enjoying what I've read.
That's fair. So I'm into it. I think I'm excited about this show. I think it could be a very interesting mix of different... Because as much as Shawshank's there, I don't think that means they're going to be telling the story of Shawshank Redemption
in the
show.
Not.
But I think it's interesting that they're going to use that and have a different plot related to Shawshank going on in this world.
Yeah, I wouldn't go as far as to say I'm excited about this yet, but I think I'm very intrigued.
Yeah, potential's definitely there. There was some good creepy little moments.
Yeah, I'd say I wouldn't say I'm excited because I still don't know exactly what this show is. Like, this trailer didn't. I go, okay, there's all these things, but I don't know what it is yet as a
Well,
show.
it's J.J. Abrams. He likes to play it close to the chest. You
It,
you
it
won't know
does.
you won't know what this show is until you watch the episode.
No, and that's true, which means I'm probably not going to be that excited for it until I watch it and see for myself. But
Hmm.
that's okay.
Okay.
Still going to watch it.
The other trailer, which is also for a Hulu show, this one's coming much sooner though, November 29th, is Runaways, the Marvel show, which is about a group of kids who find out their parents are all supervillains, and as the title would suggest, they run away. So, what do you think of the trailer for this one?
That was all right. I didn't love it. I liked
Yeah,
moments, but it's kind of almost an extended scene.
yeah,
It very much plays just to one plot point.
yeah. There's a montage at the end of like more stuff going on, but the bulk of it is clearly from the first episode as they catch the parents doing the evil ritual that they're all into. If you're eagle-eyed, you would have noticed that one of the actors was James Marsters, who was on the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
For God's sake.
What, he was there? He was in the scene. What would you expect me to do? Just not
He was.
mention it?
Yeah.
I'll mention
I
it.
mean, you could just not mention it.
Nope, that's not happening.
You've done it enough this week.
Okay, here's something that will excite you though, because you won't know this about Runaways. You get a brief glimpse of him in one scene, but in this show there will be a telepathic velociraptor.
Okay, I'm down. Wait, look, we live in a world where Star Wars is being sold on Porgs, which I'm all about. Porg life. But,
See,
no,
You're annoyed at me for the Buffy reference. I am so annoyed at you for this stupid. Was it called a Porg?
Porg.
Porg.
Yes.
This shitty little miniaturized Jar Jar Binks.
It's not. It's a puffin. It's nothing like Jar Jar Binks.
It's going to be like Jar Jar Binks. It's Jar Jar Binks mixed with a critter. Although I do like critters. Don't get me wrong. Critters. The movie Critters.
It's
Blast.
a Star Wars puffin. How?
I groaned so hard when I saw that in the new Star Wars trailer. I groaned because I could feel everyone ordering their pops online, their pop vinyls. Oh, I got to have the pop of that stupid cute little thing.
There's another one. I've already got it on order. It's one with Chewie holding the Porg, and it's adorable.
I hope Chewie
And I
accidentally
eat it.
steps on it at one point and just splats.
Oh, I'm waiting for him to eat one of them, and then befriend one. It's going to be amazing. But yeah, look, my point was, we're in a world where Star Wars sells its movie on Porgs. That's kind of where it's getting to. They're a big part of the merchandise. And why are Runaways not going, hey, we have a telepathic velociraptor here? Why are they not shoving that in everyone's faces and going, watch this for this?
because they have class.
No.
Unlike that shambles of a franchise that you worship.
There is nothing unclassy about a Porg. Thank you very much, good sir.
Everything about it is unclassy.
We're Porg people now. We'll live and die by the Porg.
They couldn't even give it a proper name. They just had to take the Borg from Star Trek and change a letter and hope no one would notice.
Well, no one did.
Porg, resistance is futile.
Exactly. It's amazing. It just works.
I hate it so much. You know what? I have to admit, this new Star Wars movie, like I liked Force Awakens, so I'm assuming I'm going to like this one, but I'm just not getting the hype from the trailers and stuff. I'm just kind of indifferent right now until I see it.
That's because you are the worst that humanity has to offer.
I'm the worst.
I mean that sincerely. You are the worst.
In 2 stories' time, you're talking about Harvey Weinstein, and you're going to tell me I'm the worst that humanity has to offer.
I stand by it.
Back to the Runaways trailer. I thought it was okay. I wasn't necessarily feeling. It felt a bit more networky than I think I was expecting.
Yeah, that's true.
And it may not be. Like maybe once it gets going, it'll feel different. But
I just watched them back to back. Was it this or was it Castle Rock that had the Netflix ratio? One of them had the Netflix aspect ratio.
I think it was Castle Rock, but I mean I could be wrong.
Oh.
But even if it does it doesn't, whatever. But I think just in the sense that you had all these teenagers and some of the dialogue, the main character at one point says, "Oh, this is some Narnia shit," and that line kind of landed like a thud for me. It just kind of felt out of place, and that was a bit.
Yeah.
It may be fine in the
you got
scene.
the parents going, "Oh, they're teenagers. They're not going to ask where the parents are."
And
It felt a bit. throwaway.
They might be fine in the scenes and context of the conversation, but on its own, cut out for a trailer, it felt a bit forced and kind of, oh, here's a line for the trailer, kind of.
Yeah, but my concern was that it felt like most of a scene. Like I didn't feel like there was a lot cut from these chunks.
Oh, sure. Oh, no. Oh, that's like agree with that. I think it mostly comes from the same few scenes, but I don't think there's. I think there's a lot more in there.
No, but those lines that I'm seeing, they
All right.
mostly feel like I've got quite a lot around them to give them the context. It doesn't feel like I'm missing that much that should enhance them.
Oh no, I disagree because I think when I talk about context, I'm not talking about why he's saying it. We get why he's saying it. I mean the flow of the conversation, the context of the dialogue
Okay.
with the other characters. I think that's what I mean when I say, oh, once you get it in context with what someone says before them, or maybe it's just a shitty take. Maybe the take that they use in the final thing will be better. Maybe the line won't even be there. But
Oh,
it's
that's
just
true. We've seen it before.
so I'm just like in context it might be better, or it could be the exact same, and I'll think it's equally as awkward once I actually see the episode. But.
Yeah, that's fair.
So we'll move on. There's a couple of Legends of Tomorrow, little bit tidbits, just quick things. One is that Victor Garber seems to be leaving the show, at least as a regular.
I've been I mean, I haven't mentioned it because it is some spoilers for the crossover that have been going around, and it's like it seems to be that'll be there's been talk that he's been leaving in the crossover for a while.
Right, okay. What's interesting is having watched the first episode of the season, it doesn't feel like it's coming out of nowhere. It feels like they're already kind of planting the seeds as to why he'll be gone. So, and it did say just as a regular, so he can still pop back in for.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's the beauty of a time travel show is no matter what happens to any of your characters, you can always just go, oh, we'll go and visit them when they were alive, or before they blew up, before they
Why
went
are you
off on this
assuming he
journey.
dies?
I'm saying before they go off on this journey, whatever they do, like wherever they go, you can always just go, oh, we can't go and visit them there, but we can go to them earlier, younger.
Is this the rumor that he's dying? Because I feel like you're spoiling the shit out of this.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying, like for anyone of any time travel show, like if he goes off to, I mean, I haven't seen the episode. If he goes off on a mission of his own, like a personal mission, spend time with his family, he doesn't want to be interrupted, you could go and visit him when he's younger. You could do all these things.
You jump to all these wacky things. What if he just wants to like, oh no, I'm retiring because I'm an old man. I want to go be with my
I mean,
daughter.
that's fair. I think, to be honest, whenever I hear anyone in a show is leaving, like these sorts of shows, I jump to death.
But well, anyway, so that's the thing that's happening. The only thing I'm curious about is like who replaces that half of Firestorm. Do we get a replacement? Who?
It's that's easy. It's his daughter.
You think it's the daughter? Okay.
I do.
I'm going to say no, but I'm basing that on something from the episode I've watched that you haven't.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, that's been my guess since I heard the rumor of him leaving about a month ago.
It makes some sense, and to be fair, given how they've handled him leaving, like his family members for extended periods of time, they could still do it, admittedly. But I mean, I still think it's a fair guess, but I think there's also a reason to doubt it at this point. But more on that when we talk about the shows and the television from the multiverse show that we're doing at the end of the week. So the other Legend of Tomorrow thing is during an interview, presumably for New York Comic Con, showrunner Phil Klemmer revealed a bunch of things they were doing this season, and one of them, the one that everyone's picking out, is that they mentioned Constantine is going to be in an episode. So I'm not particularly fussed about that. However, what I am fussed about is the rest of the list here.
Oh, can I just on the Constantine thing before we move on? I did see some extra little bits. Apparently, they've made a point of going, because he was kind of very neutered on the NBC show as Constantine, but they made a point of going, no, he's going to be bisexual and he's going to be chain smoking. Like they made a point of saying, no, this is we're trying to make Constantine.
To be fair, with Sarah being bisexual, like very overtly, like all the time, it would be silly if they had that with him.
No, I know. They made a point of going, no, look, we know that version it wasn't bad, but it wasn't what the character should be, and we're trying to make it closer.
Ah, right, okay. So the other things they mentioned here, we get to do a little Amblin Alien episode back in the 80s. We do some Jack the Ripper Victorian London, Golden Age of Hollywood. We do a Freaky Friday episode. The other thing is he mentions that the one thing we couldn't do that we're going to do an ABBA Waterloo in the Napoleonic Wars episode, but we couldn't get the rights for the song.
Oh man, I'm so disappointed. That would have been the highlight of the season. No. That would have been the highlight of the show.
Well, not happening. So
Oh,
can cry into your pillow tonight.
I will. I will. But no, I love the sound of all of those.
Yeah, no, they
This
also have
this
fun.
I mean, again, I haven't watched this episode yet. I'm just assuming based on last season, it really found what it wanted to be and became fun. And
I'm not spoiling a thing. I'm
no,
not
no,
even
no, that's
saying.
fair. But assuming it's continued to be fun and very, self-aware of what it is now, all of these things sound like they should be great because they're going to have fun with them.
The show has never been more self-aware than this new episode.
I'm not gonna lie, I said I'd watch Supergirl. I haven't watched that or The Flash. I am far more excited to watch that than I am The Flash, which is weird.
Yeah. So yeah, Constantine's going to be in an episode of Legends. That was the big thing there. But there you go. So the next thing, no, I didn't necessarily expect we would be talking about this whole controversy that's going on with Harvey Weinstein, or Weinstein, I think it's how you pronounce his name.
Yeah.
Because so we talk about TV shows, we talk about what's on them, and as much as this is a big topical thing right now, it's not necessarily something we'd talk about. And obviously, if you haven't heard, he's been accused of years and decades of sexual harassment, sexual assault, of varying degrees. With, I think at this point there's dozens of actresses and executives and females who have worked in the industry.
Did you hear his atrocious non-excuse of an excuse?
I probably didn't. There's been so many stories about the guy over the last
The one that
I was going to say, this is the thing. Like, I remember this. There was one quick thing about New York Times is doing a story on him the next day. It might be a big thing, and then people were talking about it. I was like, oh, this is awful. This guy's an asshole. And then I was not expecting the blow up that's happened over the past week, where every single day
I don't think anyone was expecting to blow up like this.
There's been updates. There's been people accused of knowing he was doing it. There's been people there's just, I feel like every single day the story's gotten bigger and bigger, and it should be. I'm not criticizing that. I actually think it's a good thing that this is all coming out.
Yeah, definitely.
But I was not braced for it. When I first heard I was like, oh, that's shit. The asshole will probably sleaze his way out of it somehow. And oh no, like
not this time.
Oh no, the internet, all the victims are gunning for him. It's just
his atrocious non-excuse of an excuse was he ended it by saying it's not really an excuse. That was the end of his excuse. But he was saying how I came into the system at a different time. In the 60s or 70s, these things were just the way it were. This is what I thought it was. I've learned recently, but that's not an excuse.
Recently. I've learned.
Yeah.
The last 3 years have been okay. The previous 30, I was doing some nasty things, but
like it was fine in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah. There's been so much. Like I saw one thing today. I actually remembered this when I saw the clip. But Seth MacFarlane, when he was at the Oscars a few years ago, he made a joke that at the time was just this joke that everyone kind of laughed at because he was like, the big producer in Hollywood, and he cracked a joke about. It was after he'd introduced all the nominations for Best Actress. He said, oh, and that congratulations to all you ladies who now don't have to pretend you're attracted to Harvey Weinstein, and and now obviously that has a double meaning to it. But there was the thing that really stuck out to me this time, seeing this clip, is that look in his face after he said that joke is so telling.
Yeah,
he knew.
Do you know what really I love about that clip now is at the time we all laughed. Take a shot at the big producer. Classic Seth MacFarlane. What you'd expect, but if you listen to the laughter in the room,
it's kind of awkward.
It's this awkward where they all know.
Yeah, and the funny thing is I saw like people complaining like, why didn't he come forward? And it's like, if you actually look into it, the person who told him that something happened to her, there was a friend of his. She had asked him not to go public. It was her choice. It wasn't his secret to tell. And I'm someone who thinks Seth MacFarlane's not that funny. I don't like him that much. But as a person, my respect for him has, been
definitely.
Solidified this week.
Again, quality of his shows is completely, not the point here. But
no, of course not.
Every interview he's ever been in, he comes across as such a great guy. Like when you just listen to him.
Yeah. So, but I think it's really telling. The look in his face after he cracks that joke, he meant that as a dig because he couldn't.
He was like, no, he was like, I want you to know I know.
Yeah, and he's holding back, and it's almost like he's even uncomfortable with everyone kind of doing the fake laugh, like, oh, we all kind of know something. Like it's almost like the impression I get from a lot of Hollywood. Now, some of them maybe knew more than others did, but it's almost like everyone's heard stories. Like everyone knows, the creepy guy up the end of the road Like you've heard
Yeah,
stories about he's up to things.
it's some of them are worse than like the Ben Affleck one was really awkward. Did you see that one?
Yeah, yeah.
Because he put out a big whole thing. It's like, oh, this was, this is awful. It shouldn't have happened. And then the next day, it came out that he'd done it to someone, and like the two tweets next to each other are like, yeah, I'm sorry, I did that.
Yeah. Just to clarify though, he acted inappropriately. What Ben Affleck did was very wrong, which was he groped someone in an interview or something like that, and then he felt someone else's ass when he was drunk.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
it's still
Oh, it's
unacceptable.
absolutely unacceptable. Harvey Weinstein would do that kind of thing, but he would also bring actresses to his house under the guise of, "Oh, this is a work. I want to interview you for the movie. I want to talk to you about the movie you're going to be in." And then he would show up naked with a robot, and he would try and like force massages on them. All this seedy, creepy, like real. I'm a man of power. I'm going to abuse that and make you. And this is the thing: is that so many of these actresses that have spoken out, Ashley Judd, Rose McGowan, it's like that. This thing where because they're powerful, they feel like if they speak up, they'll like either not be believed, they'll be seen as a troublemaker, they'll be blacklisted from the industry. All these things that all these reasons why, which is why no one should be in any way criticizing anyone who was scared to
Oh,
speak up about it.
and obviously Terry Crews was obviously the big guy to speak up for that because he was saying no, like he has been a victim of this, not from Harvey Weinstein specifically. He just said a Hollywood executive.
Yeah, groped him, which it's fascinating because I think that puts like because all these people who criticize, oh, why don't they ever come forward? It's like, well, because when they come forward, you victim blame. When they come forward, like people will shoot them down, and then they say, but like, no, this guy who's like 6'5" and could break you in half felt terrified of coming
Yeah,
forward.
he goes, no, I'm like 240 pounds and just built of muscle. That's not bragging. He just is.
Yeah,
And,
no, he is.
and he's going, and I didn't want to come forward. Why would this, 125-pound woman who is physically smaller, all these things, why would she want to come forward?
Which really puts it in perspective. The mentality of whoever this exec was, that he looked at Terry Crews and thought, I'm powerful enough that I can try this. Like, and what he did was he grabbed his crotch. That was the gist of what I read. And I'm like, I wouldn't want Terry Crews to think that I've stolen, like, a bit of food off of his plate. Never mind grabbing his junk. Like,
I know.
the audacity of especially in front of his wife, which was the whole, like, just, again, like, just the sheer, like, I don't care what you think when I do this
That's it.
attitude.
He's a big dude, and like I said, he is just all muscle. Dude looks like he could just kill you if he wanted to.
Yeah, so it just kind of shows this idea of being scared for your job, being scared
And
of being blacklisted from the industry and all these
just
things.
the really sad part for him specifically, the reason he said he didn't make a scene is because he thought it would look really bad. The reason he didn't punch the guy and stuff like that is because it would look really bad for the headlines to say this 240-pound black man punched this guy, and he didn't want to make a stereotype worse.
Oh yeah,
that's just sad.
Yeah, it's awful. That is the fact that he has to think that way when anyone would feel that he was justified for reacting
Of course.
that way. Like anyone would, but people wouldn't. People would read the headlines and people go, "Oh, this is what happened," and blah blah. They make their own assumptions and so on. So anyway, this has been blown up all week, and the reason why we're talking about it actually, because we wouldn't typically talk about this kind of,
even though we probably should when it's this.
Well, I don't know. Like, we typically talk about the shows themselves. We talk about news about shows, new shows, all that kind of thing. We don't typically go into this kind of outside. And obviously, we're talking about how awful it is, and clearly, this is a systematic problem of Hollywood. It's a systematic problem of lots of industries, which I think is one of the things that I think it's worth pointing out. Is a lot of people saying, "Oh, this is a big problem in Hollywood," and it always has been, and it has. That is absolutely true. But I think it's wrong to assume that this is just a Hollywood problem. I think there's lots of industries and there's lots of powerful, like higher up executives.
Yeah, Hollywood's just there because it gets the publicity.
Yeah, it's all in the public eye anyway, so that's why
it's just the idea of any boss can.
Yeah,
it's the same sort of power scenario. Is the point.
So the whole thing is awful, and it's we're seeing people like come forward and talk about their experiences. There's a lot of people. Just today I saw Lily Reinhart, Betty from Riverdale, just told a story about how a higher up person sexually harassed, borderline assaulted her on a date once, was kind of forceful, and she had to kind of walk away to get away from it. But then it was like, she didn't feel like she could say anything because she felt like she'd look like a diva and she's making a fuss over something. Maybe they wouldn't believe her. These are the sort of things.
Job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So these are the sort of things that happen, and it's kind of it's really eye opening to see it all kind of blow up like this and see all these people like And it's nice that at least people are feeling a bit more empowered about talking about it now, because they feel like right now at least people are listening to it.
Yeah, if there was ever a time.
Yeah, so we're seeing different things pop up. So yeah,
How long till we see a movie about the story being made, the journalists?
oh, that's a good point. Yeah, it'll be like Spotlight, but about
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Yeah, in a few years. Maybe not long. Hollywood likes to churn these things out quick.
It does, doesn't it?
I can see that being a thing. So yeah, and obviously we mentioned Ben Affleck. He's in a fair bit of shit as well right now. Did you hear the quote as well? This is actually probably the worst thing I've heard about Ben Affleck this week.
No, because he's always sounded like a nice guy.
Yeah, but there was a quote this week. Apparently, this was Rose McGowan, who, of course, there's been the whole thing with Twitter, and she's been really outspoken. But she was accusing Ben Affleck of lying, and apparently, I think people can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was her who said that when she told Ben Affleck of some of what had happened to her, Ben Affleck's response, and the quote in the thing she said was,
"Embrace myself. I haven't heard this.
I told him to stop doing that."
Oh boy.
You know, almost like it's someone like that's what I would say to someone who kept changing the settings on my TV and it was pissing me off.
Yeah,
and
stop doing that.
Yeah, and then I find out they've done. I was like, I told you to stop doing that. Like that's that moment. That's not you have been sexually molesting people. Stop doing that. That is not that moment. This was a heavy conversation to get into, but so the reason why we're talking about this, there was a reason this was.
We've done 10 minutes on it. Now, what's the point?
So the point of it is that this is having an effect on some shows. Some shows are maybe in jeopardy because of this. Because if Weinstein Company, is involved, people don't necessarily want to have anything to do with it.
Yeah, and this is one of those things where it's a real unfortunate shame because a lot of these will have had nothing to do with this.
Yeah, it's just they're attached to that company. The company itself is in.
It's the name is tarnished.
Yeah, I think they're talking about changing the name. It's like, no, this is the new era. Like, it's going to be called.
I'd have changed it already if I were them.
Well,
you don't weather this.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, you have to think of a new name for your $1 billion company like over the night.
Oh, they don't care. They'll go just name it anything. We'll build a brand from that. Just get rid of it.
Yeah, if they want to get points, maybe name it something that sounds kind of feminist. That'd be maybe a good idea.
It would be, wouldn't it?
Just to make it the opposite. Don't get me wrong.
But does that look too cynical then?
It probably will. Yeah,
we're doing this for the PR.
It'll look very thin. It'll look like no, you're just doing that for exactly for the PR. But at the very least, like,
I think they'd be smarter not to do that because I think people would look at that as an empty gesture and be like, that doesn't mean anything. And I think people would lose respect for them even more because they're trying to look like they're better.
Yeah, and there is a bit of cynicism here. Like, there's a gif that goes around a lot of when Roman Polanski won an Oscar. And if you don't know his history, he sexually assaulted a 13-year-old girl decades ago, and he actually doesn't. He is a warrant for his arrest in the US. He doesn't go to the US.
He had to run.
He stays in countries that won't just send him off. Like, and because of that, like, but there's this gif that goes around from the Oscars where you see everyone clapping for him when he wins, and it looks so genuine. You see Martin Scorsese, like, he's up, and he's like, yes, Polanski, yes, and it's kind of this cynicism. Now, admittedly, when you watch that, my favorite part of that gif actually, that clip, is Nicolas Cage looks so confused as he's clapping. He's sort of doing it because everyone else is like, what's happening? What's going on? He's so Nicolas Cage.
Though, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's so Nicolas Cage, it's unreal. Now, there is a question, like, how many people are clapping because they don't want to be the odd ones out who are singled out for not doing it?
It's an odd one as well. People are trying to, I think in that one, people are trying to applaud the work where he's physically done so, whereas Weinstein just kind of puts the money in.
Yeah, whereas arguably they shouldn't be. Arguably he maybe should have the stigma attached to him that for some reason Hollywood just hasn't given him.
I see the difference. Like not that there's a difference in what he's done, just in the people are applauding the work, not him necessarily.
Yeah, although you kind of get the feeling like that he's finally got one. He deserves this. Kind of had that vibe to it.
Fair.
And it almost sounds like my reasoning there for why some people are clapping even though they don't really want to. It almost sounds like the current kneeling thing in the NFL with the. It almost feels like kind of a weird kind of equivalent to that.
It's one of those things though. Do you still watch his films? Would you still enjoy one of his films?
I've seen a few of his films. Obviously, he's got some classics. He's got Rosemary's Baby. The one that I do quite like is is Repulsion, which is a very, very, ironically, the movie's called Repulsion that I kind of like from him.
I love his Macbeth movie. Like, I think it's phenomenal.
But I do feel weird about liking it, and I've never
No.
went back and rewatched it, kind of because I feel weird about it. And it's kind of a weird thing. Everyone talks about how great Chinatown is. I don't love Chinatown, but I do kind of like. Again, like it's like I watched it because it's meant to be a classic, but I feel a little bit weird because of what.
Yeah. But and this is one of those ones where it's going to be easier to watch a Weinstein movie because
Oh, he's not involved in the
he's
movie
not
itself.
directly involved
Yeah.
the same way. So it's a much easier to separate, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, which shows are in danger? We keep not getting to it.
Two Amazon shows. One is the Romanoffs, which is probably going to be okay still because it's already shooting. So there's a good chance this one's, a bit more set in stone. But that's the one from the Mad Men creator, and then the other one, which is very high profile, it's not got a title yet, and they've not started shooting, so this one's maybe a bit more risk. But it's got quite, it's David O. Russell who's making this. Is the one that's got Robert De Niro in it. He's got like an all-star cast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's coming. That was meant to be Weinstein co-produced, so that could go. One that's actually been outright done is Apple were making, and there's actually another Apple announcement later on, but Apple had already greenlit an Elvis Presley biopic, which has now just been cancelled outright. They've just can't. That was a Weinstein production. They've just said nope, we're not doing it, and that's gone.
It's a real shame that this has to happen because you want them to. You still want this content to be made.
I think it's necessary, as much as some things are unfortunately going to be the sacrificial lambs in terms of the content, because I feel like there has to be consequence beyond just him himself getting charges and
agree.
so on. I think there has to be like this line-wide thing where everyone says no. If anyone who's still doing this is doing this, there are consequences beyond. It's you're screwed. Things you're associated with are screwed. It has to be real, and I think
I agree, but it's just a shame, isn't it? It's this one prick ruining it for. I mean, it's not just one prick, but obviously it's endemic. That's kind of the whole point of this story.
Yeah.
But with specifically these shows, it's one prick who's ruined it for everyone now.
Yeah, but that's the worry. Is like how many pricks is it really?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's obviously more. That's not
far too many. He may be the worst. He might be the most in your face about it, which is why maybe it's been he's maybe doing it more than others
maybe he's
or
just the
whatever.
highest profile because he's a name that even the general public will recognize.
Maybe.
So maybe it was easy to make a story about him because that's how you get the people's attention. You do it about someone they know.
Yeah, he seems to be the worst, at least in this group right now. Just because I feel like if someone else was even worse, this week would have brought their names up. I feel like, but maybe not. Maybe we'll get more next week. Maybe, but.
Like you say, this keeps spinning every day.
Also worth mentioning that anything that's on right now that's associated with the Weinsteins, where he was listed as a producer or an executive producer, his name is being scrubbed from all of it.
Good.
In some cases, the Weinstein logo has been taken away from the end of things. I know there's a movie coming out soon that was already made. I can't remember off the top of my head. There was so many of these, I didn't bother writing them. I wrote down these because of a TV show specifically, but there's so many things coming up where his name is being scrubbed from the records.
It's one of those things where it's such a big company. It's been involved in so many things, like so many, that if you took away everything that has ever been involved in, you'd lose a lot of content. Really, like quite a significant chunk.
Oh yeah, I don't think anyone's even feeling that way. I don't think anyone's going to watch like Pulp Fiction and feel like, oh, this is weird because the Weinsteins are related to this in some way. I don't think you have to feel that way. It's not someone who's directly the creative force in any of this. It's just
right.
But this is definitely a scandal. It's definitely something that should be having all this attention, and people should be discovering this and talking about it. And he should be reaping his. I don't know if there is just desserts applicable for 30, 40 years of this activity, because it's quite monstrous, basically. This level,
it is. Like, it really is.
I mean, one act of this is monstrous, but doing this for 40 years systematically, like, it's just part of your everyday life. Like,
and that's the worst part about his excuse is he was saying, no, this was everyday life, and that's kind of the worst part. Is to him, it was everyday life. It's not even just pretending. It goes, no, this. He kind of said, no, this is just how it was, and he never grew out of it.
Yeah, I think we'll leave it there. I feel like we could probably talk and rage about this.
We could go on for a full hour about this, couldn't we?
Yeah, we probably could. But yeah, it is. Yeah, so aye. on to some potentially happier things.
Please.
Okay,
Don't you
so
dare hit me with a CBS show after that.
now we got some casting for a couple of things. I've got descriptions as well in case you've forgotten about them.
I
And stuff.
probably have.
And admittedly, the cast here aren't necessarily the notable things. I just wanted to remind you that these shows existed because I'd forgotten about them, and they're somewhat notable. So first up, Stargate Origins.
I saw. Have you got the dark matter relating to this?
I don't think I've got the dark matter related to this, but you can bring that up.
I'll get to that then. Yeah.
Australian actress Ellie Gull has been added to the cast. She's been going to be the lead actress in this. She's going to play Catherine Langford. This is going to be a 10-episode digital series, which is going to be on the new service Stargate Origins, which seems really ballsy. Like, I mean, yeah, sure, CBS put out a new service with Star Trek, but at least that's not just the Star Trek service. There's still going to be more things on there. I don't know if Stargate's maybe big enough to just... Maybe it's going to be really cheap. I don't know.
Who knows?
Here's the thing. Here's a description though, just to confirm. I've seen the movie. I've never seen the shows. It's maybe something we maybe get to on already someday. Is the original Stargate SG-1 because I've heard some good things about it.
Yeah.
But who knows? But anyway, Stargate Origins will explore a brand new chapter in Catherine's early history. So I wonder if that means that an older version was in a previous show from that sentence. But surrounding the extraordinary portal, which is the whole thing's about. It's a Stargate. The show will follow young Catherine as she embarks on an unexpected adventure to unlock the mystery of what lies beyond the Stargate in order to save Earth from unimaginable darkness. There you go. That's it.
Okay, so the dark matter thing, I talked about how the showrunner very, very active on Reddit, very publicly active. He was also the guy behind Stargate. And he was somehow, I can't remember, I think it was NBC or whoever it was that has all this going on. They were actually looking at picking up dark matter for a fourth season or whatever it was. And we're going to do a crossover. And apparently it came down really close. Like they wanted to. They had the money there ready to go. And the only thing that stopped them was there's some contractual issues with Sci-Fi, and they couldn't do it in time before the sets got dismantled.
Oh, that sucks if you're a fan of the dark matter that it was so close to coming back. And then,
it was he wanted to put a big thank you to all the people who really tried because they proper tried apparently. But
oh man, oh well, that sucks.
That would have been crazy.
Especially to come back and then cross over with another long-running sci-fi franchise like that. That'd have been really weird.
Right.
Next up, Warrior, which is Cinemax's upcoming Tong Wars show. Justin Lin's behind it, and it's going to be 10 episodes. This is so it's the Tong Wars, the Chinatown, late 1880s. You've got it's a sort of period crime drama with martial arts and stuff. So it sounds.
Yeah, I remember this one. I was intrigued.
Yeah, so they've announced a bunch of the cast here with some descriptions to give us a sense of what the show is. The cast includes Andrew Koji as Assam, a martial arts prodigy who travels from China to San Francisco and ends up becoming a hatchet man for the most powerful Tong in Chinatown. Olivia Cheng as Atoy, Chinatown's most accomplished courtesan and madame. Jason Tobin as Yong Jun, the hard-partying son of a powerful Tong boss. Diane Doan. Well, that's a weird. Diane. It's Doan. Is that Doan or Doan? I kind of like Doan because then her name's Diane Doan.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But she's going to play Mai Ling, a beautiful and ruthless Chinese woman who, through sheer force of will, has achieved a position of power in one of the Tongs. Kieran Bu as Officer Big Bill O'Hara. Obviously not Chinese, given the name O'Hara. Hard-drinking Irish cop charged with forming a Chinatown squad. And Dean Jagger as Dan Leary, an unofficial godfather of the Irish community of San Francisco and leader of the Working Men's Party. So clearly we've got an Irish kind of crime element as well.
Tell which ones are Irish just by the names. O'Hara and Leary. They couldn't have gone any more like, oh, this is an Irish character.
Yeah, but that's fine. It's true to form.
No, it is.
But no, I thought all those descriptions gave you a nice sort of sense of who the characters were, and we're going to have the cop in the middle. We're going to have the main Tong characters, and then there's also this. I presume the Irish will kind of be the antagonists of the show.
Irish mob.
Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense.
I'm down for this. This every time I hear about it, which is not that often, but I'm more intrigued.
I'm down to try it. I wouldn't say I'm excited about it, but because I have no idea what the quality is going to be like, but
Oh, sure. But as a concept, as where I'm hearing about, okay, I see what this is kind of going to
yeah,
be. I'm down.
yeah, no, I'm cool with it too. So we're actually on to the new shows now, the comedies to start with, as we always do. I know we're quite far in. That was all that Weinstein talk.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, we haven't even started the shows yet.
so ABC's got a comedy called The Mighty Quinn. Nothing to do with Harley Quinn, just for the record. It's a half-hour show. Doesn't mention single or multi-camera. I'll assume single since it doesn't mention. The Mighty Quinn, sorry, the Multi Quinn. The Mighty Quinn tells the story of 39-year-old Quinn. After getting dumped by her boyfriend on Christmas Day, Quinn decides to take a year off dating and go on the journey of finding herself. Along the way, she not only transforms her own life, but the lives of her friends as well, bringing them all closer than ever. That sounds like a one-season thing. What's season 2 going to be about?
Yeah, it sounds very sappy as well.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Not sure it's for me, that one, based off that.
Yeah, that's it. The word journey there, it doesn't. I mean, that may not actually mean a journey. It may just sound like the emotional journey of the year.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
But the whole let's bring everyone close together. It feels like it'll be very sappy.
Yeah, but I think it's weird that it's a year off dating. So that means season 2 she's back to dating. But I mean, I suppose that could be an interesting.
Or
season
she
2.
changes her mind and goes, no, I want to. I want to go longer. She gets to
Sure,
the end of the
yeah.
year and goes, you know what? I don't want to date yet.
Sure, that could be a thing. Also at ABC, we've got an untitled single camera comedy from the creators of The Real O'Neills, which I've never seen, so it doesn't mean much to me, but if you have seen that, you may have a benchmark for quality. The project is about a woman at her tipping point who has her mad as hell moment and discovers something extraordinary about herself. So this is the comedy version of The Sinner, then, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I'm making light of it, but okay, there's not a lot to go on. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
She has a crisis of some kind and learns something about herself. And then also at ABC, so that's 3 comedies from them this week. Also entitled Single Camera. It's coming from Bobby Bowman, based on Bowman's childhood. It looks at the unexpected benefits of growing up in a family with a dad who has a mental illness, as Bowman's father did. So it's kind of based on this comedian's life, but with the unique twist that he grew up in a life with a mentally ill father. That I mean,
That could be interesting.
yeah, I mean ABC also did Speechless, so ABC at least so far has done a really good job of one of these types of show where you've got something where this could be really insensitive, but they nailed it. They hit the line.
I do wonder if Speechless has given not just ABC but in general people more confidence in that. No, it's okay to do these. Because I feel like it was very. Even when we heard about it, we were like, "Oh, this could be rough." It feels very taboo, and it's like, okay, especially to do as a comedy.
Yeah, I think it's just because there is always the potential. We can see how they could very easily ruin this and screw it up.
But I do wonder if Speechless being one good and two reasonably successful.
Yeah.
I mean, it got a second season at the very least. I wonder if it's giving people to go, oh, hey, it's okay. We can do this. People aren't just going to immediately go, no, this is awful.
Yeah. So next up, NBC's got a comedy. Writer-producer Susan Martin and Sean Hayes are doing a project called Lake Family. It centers on Lake Family, which centers on 220. I said that twice. I know that's weird, but it centers on 220-somethings friends who met as foster children and now try to figure out what they want from life and each other in New York City. Very basic, as a description goes.
Okay.
2 close friends who have known each other since kids, basically.
They're like family.
They're like family. There you go. That's the whole concept. Could be fine. Depends on quality.
Yeah.
Fox have got a pilot commitment for a comedy called Bastards, which seems very...
I'm down.
You don't even know what it is yet. It's a single camera. It comes from Ed Weeks from the Mindy Project, and also the writers of Independence Day Resurgence. So
I was on board with everything. Then you got to that and I went, yeah, okay.
that's an odd combination. Bastards...
Maybe if you watch that movie as a comedy, though, it's much better.
I don't remember
I'm just saying.
I don't remember the intentional funny stuff being funny, but...
No, but if you look at it all as, this is all supposed to be funny.
Bastards is about a philandering game show host who dies, leaving his mansion to his 3 children, each of whom thought were all only children.
I'm so into this.
And who ultimately decide to live together and form a new unconventional family, presumably in the mansion. Because I imagine that even though they don't know these other people, it's like, wait, even a third of a mansion is much bigger than what I have right now. I want this.
Oh, I like the sound of this one. Not gonna lie.
It's not a bad idea, actually. It's an okay, and I like that they're being brave enough to call it Bastards. I feel like when Inglorious Bastards came out, that was still censored in a lot of places. So the fact that they're saying no, we're calling this Bastards,
Yeah,
I like it.
they're gonna have fun advertising their show.
Up next on Fox, Bastards, but with less of a Scottish accent. So, next up, Fox have also put in a pilot commitment to a single camera comedy called Bless This Mess. It's from the creator of New Girl. So, it's also got Lake Bell, who's going to be writing the show, but also starring in it. Bless This Mess centers on a newlywed couple that gives up their drab and unfulfilling lives in New York City and move to Nebraska for a simpler life. It doesn't work out like they planned. Doesn't tell me a whole lot. It's also not the only show we've spoken about, comedy-wise, in the last month that's had we moved from the city to a suburb of some kind, or the Midwest.
I was just thinking, I'm like, okay. So, I mean, I just heard about this. I wasn't super into that one either because it didn't give me that much to go on. This one has a bit more because I like New Girl for the most part.
Yeah, it's got a bit of talent there, which suggests quality.
It's something, yeah.
There's no reason why all of these shows with the same concept can't all be good. Because unlike if like 3 sci-fi shows come out and they're all about the exact same topic, that feels tiring. But with sitcoms, it doesn't even matter if they'll have the same concept, as long as they're all funny in their own way with different types of comedy.
Yeah, it's when they all have the same style of humor, and I'm like, okay, now I've got to pick and choose one.
Yeah. All right, so that's the comedies. We've done the comedies. We're on to the dramas.
Oh, that was nice and brief.
Yeah. I got through them. I got through them in a nice bit of time. So, starting with the dramas. It's reboot territory to begin with.
Have we got a reboot section this week?
Not a section, no.
Oh, disappointing.
Oh, technically that next one's a reboot as well. I never even thought of it.
Reboot section. Reboot, not roulette, because I refuse to give in to your awful naming.
Yeah, because reboot section sounds so good.
Oh, I'm not calling it that. I'm still thinking.
All right.
Reboot room. Oh, I'm spitballing.
That was terrible. Roulette's better.
Yeah,
better than room.
Shut up. Just tell me the reboot.
Roswell.
Okay.
Did you ever see Roswell? It was a show on the WB and then UPN back before they merged to become the CW.
I never did.
No, I actually did see the first season back when it aired.
Was it any good?
I remember it being okay. I remember it not being like anything necessarily like, oh, you have to go see this, but
it was on the WB, so
at the time it was like I enjoyed the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I also checked out Charmed at the time, which wasn't as good, but it was decent enough watch. Let's be honest, I was at the age where watching 3 attractive ladies be witches was kind of
that was enough.
That was enough at the time, yeah. I was like, oh, Alyssa Milano's on this. I'm watching this because I'm like 11, and that's exciting. And then Roswell was this other one where it was, again, it was teenagers in high school. It had that kind of like sort of, it's high school with a twist, kind of like Buffy. But in this case, it was 3 of the students were aliens who landed in Roswell, and they had powers. And that was kind of the premise of the show. And it was okay. Katherine Heigl was in it. She was the one of the aliens. And like, I saw that the lead actress who played the human girl, who was, in love with the main alien dude. I saw her pop up in a really crappy horror movie. Actually, it wasn't that crappy. It was an okay horror movie earlier this year, called The Devil's Child. What I say?
That sounds familiar.
I watch a lot of horror movies for screams.
You watch too many horror movies.
It was The Devil's something. Devil's Candy. Maybe The Devil's Candy.
Are you not bored of horror movies yet?
Never. So yeah, which funnily enough, the lead alien in the show, whose name I cannot remember, did happen to be in an episode of the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I knew. As soon as you said, and funnily enough, I knew exactly where you were bloody going with that, and I was like, don't you dare.
He was the guy in season 2 of Buffy. He was like Buffy's old friend from LA.
I don't care.
Who wanted to become a vampire. That was him.
I hate that I remember this.
Yes.
I hate that I know exactly who you're on about.
Yes.
I want to throw this glass at your face.
Yes. So he's in this. Also, in terms of casting, I really like William Sadler, who was the sheriff. He was the town sheriff and happened to be one of the fathers of one of the kids. I like him a lot. He was in this. So
cool.
Yeah, if he's the president in the Marvel movies right now. If you
Yeah.
want a recent thing, but I like him a lot. He's in Shawshank Redemption, which we mentioned earlier. So a bunch of stuff. Anyway, so the new one's a bit different. They're doing a little bit something different with it. They were going to reboot it. It's still loosely based on the book Roswell High, which was what the original was based on. So the new Roswell reflects on the realities of its location as in the state bordering Mexico. After reluctantly returning to her tourist-trap hometown of Roswell, New Mexico, the daughter of undocumented I put in that was my bad. The document of undocumented immigrants discovers a shocking truth about her teenage crush, who is now a police officer. So they're a little bit older. They're not in high school. He's an alien who has kept his unearthly abilities hidden his entire life. She protects his secret as the two reconnect and begin to investigate his origins, but when a violent attack and long-standing government cover-up point to a greater alien presence on Earth, the politics and fear of hatred threaten to expose him and destroy their deepening romance. So, okay, I have to admit, I don't hate the idea that her family are kind of illegal aliens in the traditional sense, whilst he's...
Honestly, as soon as you were telling me about this show, I was like, I know what this is going to be this year, because this is the year for this.
So he's a literal illegal alien, and he's an actual outer space alien, and then her family are actual aliens in that sense. So I see what they're doing there. Given they're still basing it on Roswell High, I imagine there'll still be a high school presence of some sort. Maybe like her little sister or something will be in high school,
or if not, it's more this is Roswell High, but after high school. This is that all happened sort of thing.
No, it seems it's CW, by the way, which is maybe not a surprise at all.
I just assumed it was. I'll be honest.
Yeah, so that's fine. This is the sort of thing that I will definitely try. I can see it being far too CW for either of us to want to continue with. Yeah. But then again, we like how trashy Riverdale is. I've not watched the first episode back because we don't cover that anymore. But I do plan on watching that show.
Obviously.
I do want to go back.
I need my fix.
That show has too many good gifable moments in terms of reactions from almost every character that I cannot not watch that. It's my trashy guilty pleasure right now.
I can't argue.
Yeah,
it's awfully great.
It kind of is. So, yeah. So that's the premise for yeah. So we'll try it. It may be too teeny boppy. Let's say it's not in high school, but I still feel it having that vibe.
It's a CW show, isn't it?
I can still see it having that feel to it. But yeah, so no, I get why they're doing this. Especially again, some of their stuff should be ending soon, given Supernatural's age.
Oh my god, when is that going to end? I feel like every year I go, is this the year? And then it's like the first thing they renew.
Yeah, it's on season 13. There are now children who were born the year this was first greenlit that are now they're now teenagers.
It's terrifying.
Now they're watching shows like I used to watch Roswell or Charmed back in the day.
They're probably doing it with Supernatural.
Yeah, well, the girls especially. I mean, maybe some of the boys too, obviously. I mean, in fact, Supernatural's long been joked about the homoerotic tension between the brothers.
Exactly.
They've even cracked jokes on the show about it, which of course they go, wait, but we're brothers. That's weird.
And then they give each other a look anyway, I assume.
Yeah, because
it's the CW.
They're so damn attractive. And you know what? As a straight man, they are both ridiculously attractive men.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm struggling to remember what they look like that much because I've never watched Supernatural, so I'm having to actually think about them.
That's fair. That's fair. But they're both ridiculously attractive. Like, if you're forcing me to pick someone, like they wouldn't be too low down the list. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but there's got to be higher.
Oh, that's higher. I mean, Nathan Fillion would probably be quite high up there on my list.
Is that genuinely the top of your list?
No, I'm joking. I mean, when it comes to man crushes, I think like Bruce Campbell's oddly high, but it's got nothing to do with his appearance. That's all attitude. It's all personality.
It's all in the chin.
Which, to be fair, it makes sense. If I'm not actually a gay man, it makes sense that I would base my man crushes on personality.
Yeah, but who on the attractiveness, not the personality?
I don't know. I don't actually think about this.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
You've thought about it.
I don't actually think about this. I don't know who would be the number one pick.
Okay.
Right, you got number one pick?
See, this is it goes on. Who have I seen recently? So I'll go Ryan Gosling.
Okay.
Let's be honest. That's the real reason that I went to see Blade Runner on the biggest screen possible.
You keep going back. You're hoping for full frontal, and it keeps not delivering it.
I know every time.
Okay, let's move on to other things. So, Apple TV, they have announced. Well, I mean, first of all, Apple are announcing a TV show. That's kind
Yeah,
of
yeah. Can we start with
yeah.
that? Not.
That's kind of it. What's notable is that when I read this news story, they actually specified they don't actually know how Apple are going to distribute this yet because they don't have like a network per se. They're just going to put it on iTunes.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned they might lock it to, like Apple TVs and things like that. Like,
Yes.
yeah, a little bit of a word there.
Yeah.
Because I refuse to buy into Apple's ecosystem.
I like the classic iPods, but they've stopped making those. So now it's
I loved my iPod until it died.
yeah. So now like I have an iPad because at the time of purchase that was the best resolution you could get on a screen. So that was the basis for it. But otherwise, I'm not someone who goes for Apple products. I don't really give a crap about them. They don't do anything for me. I don't like the UI. I don't like how they
Yeah.
control
It's
anything
something
like
where if this is just on, I can just get it on iTunes, then yeah, okay, fair enough.
that.
But if I have to
Yeah,
like be on their devices, their ecosystem,
exactly. iTunes you can get on everything. It's fine. Well, not everything, but well, a lot of reasonable things like PCs can have iTunes.
yeah, I'm a PC. That's fine.
But yeah, so they have announced a reboot of an old show, which honestly I never heard of. It's
No,
called
I mean, this was actually already in production before this, though, I believe.
yes, they've grabbed it. They're the ones doing it, but it's called Amazing Stories, and it was on in the mid 80s. And Steven Spielberg's producing it, as is Brian Fuller. It's an anthology show, so it'll be episode by episode. Um, Apple are apparently going to be paying $5 million per episode, which is an hour-long anthology series that focuses on science fiction, horror, and fantasy vignettes. Vignettes is an interesting word. Does that imply that it's actually multiple stories per episode? Like it's literally going to be shorter things in an hour?
That's true, but maybe they're considering just an hour as a vignette
Yeah,
anyway.
they
Like,
could be.
that's short enough that
I actually think that'd be quite a fascinating approach. Actually, as if every week you got three
like,
20
this is
minute.
the theme of the week,
Yeah,
and you
like
get
this week you get the Alien episode, so it's like 3 or 4 short Alien films basically. That'd be kind of a fun idea. I don't think that's what it is, but it's got me thinking.
someone should do it.
Yeah, it ran from 1985 to 1987. It was nominated for a bunch of Emmys and stuff. Apparently, it's not completely a set deal yet. Amazon have not actually locked it in, but they're looking at it, so it's probably going to happen.
Yeah,
But maybe if Weinstein's name's attached to it, maybe they'll back out. I don't think it is.
I'm trying to remember who was attached before, because
Oh.
it was somewhat a reasonable sized place, I believe.
I want to say Amazon, but I think that's just because Apple and Amazon are very, they both start with A.
Yeah, I'm just trying to actually quickly have a glance because I did have the article up before.
This is great. This is great.
It was NBC.
Okay. This is the weird thing, is in theory I like this better because it's not a network, but at the same time I have no idea what Apple's going to put out. Like, I have no basis for comparison. What does an Apple TV show look like?
Yeah, I mean, there's the whole thing where Apple have said that they've pledged to spend $1 billion on original productions in 2018.
Well, great. More things for us to do.
They're really making a push for this.
Yeah, more things for us to do. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, so let's move on. So Paramount Television. So, which I am assuming means the Paramount, channel that Spike's turning into.
Yes, that's why I assumed you meant that, but
I think that's what it means. I only say that because I do think there was like a Paramount Television production as well.
yeah.
But I think this means the TV show. So I mean, I could be wrong there. We might get a clarification on that later. But so Paramount Television, along with anonymous content, have acquired the rights. See, that's why I think it might be the production.
It might be the production.
Yeah, because it's acquiring the rights. But hey ho, to a 2013 novel called The Black Viking, by Icelandic author. And there's a lot of Icelandic names in this, so let's have some fun.
I just want to say, I've never heard of this, but I want to watch it already.
I figured you would. Well, we get our buddy Matt, who does some of the movies and comic stuff with us. He'll be down for anything Viking.
I mean, I started watching Vikings like a week or two ago. And, just have been watching it with the girlfriend, every night, watching an episode. I'm enjoying it.
So it's by Icelandic author Bergsvein Bergesson. That one's not too bad.
You're awful at this.
Yeah, Bergsvein Bergesson, right? Best I can do. And it's going to be adapted into a TV show with the Imitation Game and Passengers director Morton Tildum, which now I know Passengers got some flack, but Imitation Game is a pretty decent movie. So
I really like the Imitation Game. Yeah.
So that could. I mean, I think Passengers had more. There was more problems with that because of its script and because of it's kind of creepy sort of.
I never got
subtext.
around to watching it.
I haven't yet. I actually do want to get to it at some point because I at least like the premise to a point, even though I've heard the spoiler that makes it really creepy. But I'll see how it feels when I get to it at some point. I'll probably just forget it exists, to be honest, and never see it. But I intend to at least right now.
My girlfriend watched it last week. She said it wasn't awful.
Okay. I mean, I just like sci-fi. I like the trailer because I like the idea of these two people on a ship on their own.
It was a really good trailer, wasn't it?
But anyway, so Briggeson, who lives in Norway, holds a PhD in Nordic Studies from the University of Bergen. The Black Viking, which is currently being sold at the Frankfurt Book Fair, is the result of his search for the traces of Geirmund Helgersken, his forefather, one of the most powerful Viking kings through history. But whose saga is mysteriously disappeared. So he's this sort of secret. That's why he's been investigated, because it's not public knowledge or heavily talked about. The Black Viking was written in Norwegian and was originally published in 2013. So far, it's been translated into several languages, but not English, funnily enough. So,
God damn it! I was going to say, I want to go read this.
So we'll get the show and we can experience it that way. But yeah, I'll be honest. I think I did quite a good job with Geirmund Helgersken. I think I did quite a good job with that name.
Is that a J?
Yeah.
Yeah, J's are usually a Y sound.
Okay, Helgersken then. Helgersken.
Yeah, I'd have to look at it.
All right, I did okay though. I wasn't too bad. I was expecting.
Yeah, I mean, could have been worse.
I was expecting a train wreck, and that was okay. I am down. I often wonder as well, like, because it doesn't really specify what the show is. Is this like about him investigating it, or is this going to be a show set in Viking times with the adventures of this character?
I mean, I assume the latter, because that's the more obvious.
Maybe
TV
they could
show.
Maybe it could be both. Maybe like, the bridging device would be like him investigating.
Yeah, maybe it's a framing narrative and you get the story piece by piece as he discovers it.
Yeah, I could see it being that. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
All right,
I'm down there.
We have more drama shows to talk about. We're not at the networks though, so let's get into some of this stuff. We'll see if there's anything interesting in here. ABC is developing a drama based on a Finnish show. It's being produced by Leonardo DiCaprio's company, Appian Way Productions. It's based on a concept entitled Black Widows. The original series follows 3 wives and best friends trapped in abusive marriages to husbands who all work at the same company. When all 3 husbands die in a mysterious explosion during a group vacation, the wives are pulled into a spiral of lies and crime.
I'm intrigued. Probably not on ABC, but I'm intrigued.
Yeah, it doesn't sound terrible. It's interesting. I actually thought it was going to be about them all like working together for revenge. Like as soon as I read the explosion, I thought, "Oh, it's them. They did it. The 3 of them teamed up."
Yeah, no, I same.
But the way it's like a spiral of lies and crime makes me think, "Oh, there's more to it than that."
No, I think it could be, but it's more they become suspects, and then they're lying to cover it up, and it gets worse because they're trying to keep it a secret.
Or what if it's just one of them that did it, and the other 2 are genuinely don't know why?
It could be. Or maybe it was one of them and the other 2 cover for her.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's not a terrible concept. It's okay. Yeah. Also at ABC, who have done a lot this week, because they had like 3 comedies as well. They've got a put pilot called The Real Fairy Godmother, starring Kristen Chenoweth. Chenoweth is going to start as the self-absorbed Real Housewife who, and so obviously it's a play on the, the Real Housewives of, whatever reality show you're talking about. Who learns that she's descended from a secret order of fairy godmothers and has an inescapable destiny to use her magical abilities to help those in need. As she begrudgingly executes her assigned weekly missions, she slowly begins to realise just how superficial and morally bankrupt her actual life is, to the confusion of her dysfunctional family and friends tries to get them all to be better people. That sounds like something that's a fine idea for a show, but nothing I want to watch.
No, this sounds like, you know how we feel about Riverdale, where this is trashy, it's atrocious, but I kind of like it.
Uh-huh.
I feel that way about this.
Oh, do you? You're into this?
I think this is going to be awful, but it'll have that trashy appeal to me that I'm like, I kind of like it. Especially, it helps that I really like Chenoweth. So, that helps.
I don't dislike her. I think she's okay in small doses. I feel like her as a main character will drive me insane.
That's fair.
She's very, that high-pitched voice, the very sort of, the attitude she tends to have. I feel like she will drive me insane as a main character.
That's
So
fair. I like her a lot, but and like I say, this it sounds awful. It does not sound like a good TV show. Let me get that clear.
okay, that's
But
fine.
I feel like I could have a lot of fun with it.
So ABC again is putting a drama called Big Law, which is based on a Colombian show. Big Law is a modern look at a large LA law firm and what it takes to survive and thrive in the work-obsessed society. The line between our lawyers' professional and personal lives.
Oh my
The
God.
buzzwords are in there.
Oh, right.
The line between our lawyers' professional and personal lives are increasingly blurred, and moral ambiguity is a job requirement.
You know, if we made the decision to never
Snooze.
cover anything that said those lines, we'd never have any network TV shows to watch.
Well, nothing from CBS for sure.
Well,
And then,
they hit they when we play Buzzword Bingo, they get a full ticket every time.
next show, also from ABC, is called 800 Grapes. It's based on a book by Laura Dave. 800 Grapes centers on Georgia Ford, who learned some important secrets growing up on her family's Sonoma vineyard. The secret number of grapes it takes to make a bottle of wine, 800. The secret ingredient to her mother's lasagna, chocolate.
Okay.
I'm curious
I
about
mean,
that.
I'm down for the wine. I like the lasagna.
I like lasagna. I like chocolate. I don't know how I feel about chocolate in lasagna. But just a month before her wedding, 30-year-old Georgia discovers her fiancé has been keeping a secret so explosive that it will change their lives forever. Georgia does what she always does. She returns to the family vineyard,
And
expecting
drinks lots of wine.
expecting the comfort of her long married parents and her brothers and everything familiar. But as it turns out, her fiancé is not the only one who's been keeping secrets.
Lots and lots of wine then.
And well, I'd like, what secrets have her family got? Like, have they got
I mean,
bodies buried?
judging by it mentioned there, happily married parents or long married, whatever it was, I'll go, oh, they're actually split up and they've been, they haven't told her.
I guess. Yeah, I'm not feeling it. I mean, it's a good title. Although I immediately said, "What 800 grapes for dating my teenage daughter?" That was the first thought I had when I saw the title.
I don't know. I had 800 grapes. Went, I can eat some grapes. And then it turned into wine. I was like, oh, I can drink some wine.
Next up, NBC. So we're on a different network finally. Dynamic Television has come on board to develop Cypher, a spy action series for NBC. Cypher revolves around a secret intelligence agency called Red Division that enlists the help of dysfunctional ex-cons to stop an imminent global threat, if I can speak properly. It sounds kind of generic.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds.
It's one of those that, it could be all right, but it's going to be like half of everything else that's on
Yeah,
TV.
it's a procedural. It's basically it's kind of Demolition Man, but it's not set in the future for some reason.
Yeah, it just immediately makes it more boring.
Yeah. It doesn't have Sylvester Stallone, which is a big selling point of that movie.
I mean, it might. They haven't said it yet, but it might get.
Sure, okay. There's a 1 in a billion chance that Sylvester Stallone is the one who's cast in the lead role, even though he's like in his 70s.
Look, I'm not saying it's likely. I'm just saying it's not impossible.
Okay, Fox have given a pilot commitment to a family drama from a Nashville writers, Meredith Lavender and Marcy Ullin. The untitled 1-hour soap would follow a couple who, after 20 years of marriage, tries to reignite their passion and strengthen their family by starting over in paradise in Hawaii. They move their 2 teenage kids to the island of tourist fantasies, but the reality of paradise is not all sun, surf, sex, and the beach. Dark family secrets, a complicated social structure they don't understand, old mistakes, and a messy new relationship threatens to tear the Campbell family apart, even as they struggle to find their way back to each other.
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. I tuned out when you said soap, tuned back in and heard dark family secrets, and then tuned back out again.
Yeah, we can move on. Don't have to say anything.
No.
Sounds not our thing. That's fine. We can move on. All right. Next up, Fox. The Long Walk has been given a pilot commitment. The Long Walk is based on the upcoming novel The Bomb Maker by Thomas Perry. When a killer with a deadly vendetta sets a trap and blows up half of the LA bomb squad, private security expert and retired bomb tech Dick Stahl that's a name. Dick
That's a good
Stahl
That's the sort of name I expect to see in like not an actual noir, but like a noir made later, where it's like a pastiche of noirs.
I also feel like you could do a lot of pun with that. Like, if you want to make fun of him, like say the lady friend wants to make fun of him in bed, say, there's a bit of a your dick's stalled kind of thing.
Look,
I can see the puns.
it's on Fox. There are going to be dick puns.
Oh, there's going to be tons of dick puns, and I don't blame them. So he reluctantly returns to the team he left behind because half of them get blown up. Intent not to let the squad's remaining rookies go it alone, Stahl must confront his past head on as he trains, recruits and rebuilds the best bomb squad in the country, all while working to catch the killer and responding to the diverse calls of an elite bomb squad. Okay, so there's an elite bomb squad as well. The extended family is a group of real heroes.
No. They are the elite bomb squad. The calls that they've got to go out on.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, okay, I misread that. That's fine. Yeah, you're good. This is not like last week where I was right about that sentence. I admit I read that wrong. This is fine. See, I admit my mistakes. I admit when I'm wrong. It's fine. And last week you had to do a rebuttal at the end and admit that you were wrong. So that's okay.
Only because you read it wrong.
Shut up. So, the extended family is a group of real heroes risking their lives to protect this city, their loved ones, and each other. In fact, each other's how the last description ended. Those exact words. I mean, this will probably be kind of a bit more procedural, and it'll just be like, instead of being cops under the bomb squad, so it's kind of going to be the same kind of idea. However, I do at least like the setup for it, and I like the idea of the focus on the bomb squad. I don't know why the bomb squad themselves are searching to catch the killer. I feel like the bomb squad don't do that, but whatever.
I'll tell you why. It'll be they'll go. Yeah, do you know what? It'll be a big conspiracy, a cover up, and it'll be like no one's looking into this, so we'll have to do it ourselves.
Okay.
Because that's how Fox shows work.
Yeah, and the actor's not that old who's playing the lead character. I don't think he's middle aged. So I think it's the idea that he retired early for some reason. So it's he retired for a reason.
There'll be a big thing that happened.
Yeah. So it's not like
this is the thing where I feel like I'd really enjoy the first episode where it does this premise.
Yeah.
And then it goes procedural. I'm like, okay, I'm done now.
Yeah, I can see that. All right, we have 3 more shows. All of them CBS.
Oh, for God's sake! I'll let me know when we're wrapping up.
No. This one's got a sci-fi twist on it.
I don't care. It's CBS.
It's from the people who did Limitless.
I still don't care. I didn't watch that.
It's called Recall. You're interested? You're getting interested.
I'm not listening.
I can tell. You have to listen. You have to give your opinion on it at the end. This is what this is.
Okay, I will give my opinion.
No, you have to make. I'm going to make sure you paid attention. I'm going to test you at the end.
Don't quiz me. Don't be a dick. Can my opinion not be? It's CBS. It doesn't matter.
No, because we can make fun of some of the details sometimes.
Oh, God's sake. Go on then.
In Recall, the NSA assembles a group of investigators to make use of the agency's...
I can't listen to this.
A group of investigators who make use of the agency's newest tool, a machine that allows the user to direct access the memories of witnesses, victims, and suspects. So memory
so
machine.
So it's CSI, but they can see the memories.
But the detectives must resist the temptation to use the device on themselves and each other.
This is atrocious. I want no part of this. Get this away from me.
Yeah, honestly, it's not a bad idea for a show, but on CBS, yes, I expect CSI, but they've got memory access.
Of course it's all it's going to be.
Okay, CBS have also put in development Rosarito Beach. Apologies if I've mispronounced that name wrong. It's a comedic drama. Rosarito Beach is described as a light 1-hour procedural that will challenge cultural assumptions. It pairs a disgraced, loose-canning female attorney from California with an ambitious, tightly wound Latino lawyer who is intent on building his practice in San Diego, taking on the cases that straddle the US-Mexican legal system.
I'm bored. I don't want to hear about a CBS legal drama.
Hey, at least it's got a better name than SEAL Team.
What was the name? It's the one you struggled to pronounce.
Rosarito Beach. Yeah, I mean
SEAL.
I remember when we actually sat for like 10 minutes and tried to think what they'd call, because at the time it was a working title, and then they just called it SEAL Team, and we were just like in awe and gobsmacked of how lazy they were. It sounds so boring. It's so generic sounding. Like, call it something.
It's so CBS.
So finally, CBS have also put in development Unthinkable, an FBI procedural drama. It's like CBS don't make anything else now. So
Do they make anything else now?
well, medical shows, maybe some lawyer
Medical shows, legal dramas, and cop shows.
Yep. Yeah. Comes from Jerry Bruckheimer's television department, and also the executive producer David Slack, who's behind the infamous television show MacGyver, our favourite from last year. Unthinkable, based on Chuck Wendig's 2016 novel Invasive, is about...
I hate Chuck Wendig as a writer as well, so this is like awful for me.
It's about a brilliant futurist trained to see danger around every corner, who's recruited by an uncharacteristically optimistic FBI agent to identify the threats only she can see coming and stop them before it's too late, and each other.
Look, I hated every part of that premise. I hated that it's just another CBS show. I hate Chuck Wendig. That prick wrote not one Star Wars book that I hated, but 3. I bought one. I was like, okay, I'm not sure about this, but I was like, I've got to buy it. And, because I only heard a sample. I was like, it's okay. I read it. I was like, that was atrocious. And then I realized that was the first part of a trilogy. And because I'm a collecting prick, I have to buy all of them. So now I have to spend money on shit that I know is awful.
You don't have to. You don't.
I do.
You don't have to. If you, this is the prog problem. This is what this is. I hope this guy writes a prog anthology series.
Porg. It's a porg, you bastard.
Oh, porg. I'd apologise, but I don't care. So I hope he writes a 10-book series about the porgs. Each one is like...
No. Look, see, this is the thing. If it was that now, I could avoid it. I could go, I'm not buying it. It's him. But when I've got book 1 of a trilogy, I have to have the whole trilogy.
All right. I hope someone else writes a porg book, and then he comes in to write the rest of the series. And they tell you up front, it's a planned story, it's a 10-part thing, it's all mapped out, but then he comes in to write parts 2 through 9. Or 2 through 10. Or no, maybe it is 2 through 9. Maybe they say, the original writer's coming back for the 10th one. It's going to have a great ending.
Yeah, make you stick around.
But you've got
Just
2...
don't do this to me. I want porgs.
2 through 9.
I want lots and lots of porgs. And I don't want this prick anywhere near my porgs.
I hope every porg we see in this Star Wars movie
Porg life
dies violently.
I'm okay with a few being eaten. But porgs, come on.
Oh my... I guess we're done with the news. I guess we're at the point where we pick our favourite episode of TV of the week. Which is going to be...
It was a porg.
My favourite episode of TV this week.
Look, no, I just want to, just before you get into it, everything we watch this week would be improved by adding in a porg.
No. Not a single one would be. In fact, every single one would be made worse.
That is a matter of opinion, and your opinion is wrong.
Every single one would be made worse. In fact, some of them would be made, because it's like negative 50 points. A couple of them would be in the unwatchable territory because of the porg. So no.
Which ones would be unwatchable with porgs?
Everything but the favourite. It drags them all down that low. Puts them down below the baseline level.
I'm just saying, Mindhunter would be so much better with a porg.
They're useless little creatures. They can't even be monsters because they're not scary enough.
I want to kill you with a porg. Death by porg.
The only use that I can maybe see for one of these porgs is maybe if I run out of toilet paper.
I love the way you say porg. Like you have to think about it every time.
Porg. Anyway, what's your favourite episode of TV of the week, Connor?
Do I need to answer that? Doesn't everyone already know what this is?
Go through the motions.
Oh, maybe it could be this. That was pretty good, wasn't it? I don't know. It was Mr. Robot.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think if I agree with that. I'm just trying to put thought into it.
Yeah, think all you want. You can't think of anything because all you can see is porgs everywhere.
I hate porgs.
Look, here's something positive. You can now justifiably put porgs in the tag of this video, and you might get someone showing up for the porg talk.
No, on principle, I'm not doing it.
You could put a porg in the thumbnail.
Oh, I'm definitely not doing that. I am not
Can you
pandering.
not just put a big giant porg trans?
I'm not.
Let's
I am not pandering to you porg weirdos, right? You, do you know what this is? This is like this. It's like, you have the weeaboos who like the anime girls and like that.
yeah,
This is
yeah.
like a new subsect of that. You porg perverts who are into all sorts of weird shit that I want no part of.
You want those clicks.
I will not lower myself. I will not lower myself to that standard.
Do you know what? I wish you could check all the tags publicly on YouTube. I don't know if you can, but I want to check after you've done this, see whether or not you actually did put porg in or not. Because you
No,
can say this all now, like, I wouldn't do such a thing, and we
no.
would never know.
If there is a way to do it, you're going to go. You're going to research how you can see the tags,
I'm just looking
and you're
now. I'm just
I,
opening a video
no,
and seeing if I can.
you're going to look for it, and then you're going to find the tags, and you're going to read through them all, looking for the word porg, and you're going to get to the end of the list, and then the last tag is just going to be Connor, you're a prick. That's going to be the last tag in the video.
Connor, you porg.
I just want to leave a message for you, knowing that you're going to go hunting for the tags. I'm going to leave a hidden message in there.
I don't think I can see him.
Well, isn't that a shame? That, however, brings an end to this weird episode of the Weekly TV News.
It was a strange one, wasn't it?
We had probably the most serious discussion we've ever had on this show,
And then we had porgs.
and then we had this stupid conversation at the end about porgs and everything in between. So, I thank you for sticking around. If you have, hopefully you got something. Hopefully you got some insight and some reasonable discussion.
I'll be honest. I'm not sure why anyone stuck around through all that porg talk.
The ones that are like you stuck around because it's porg talk.
We are legion.
You are stupid. So, let us know what you thought of the news this week in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on Twitter at mild_fuzz for channel updates. It's for plugging things, because I like to plug things at the end of the news. Not the TV stuff, because we already did that at the start. We did the, you're here because you care about what we think in TV, but you might like other things we do. And of course, one of those, we do movie stuff. Screams After Midnight this month, our horror movie review show that I do with Tim. We've been pumping out lots of episodes, so you can see those. We've been working our way through our top 100 horror films in 4 parts. Part 1's already up, Part 2's coming this Tuesday. So that's fun. Also, of course, Blade Runner 2049 came out just before last weekend. Our review of that went up on Monday night, I believe. And you can see what me and Matt thought about that, so you can check out that stuff. So yeah, check that. Anything you would like to promote, Connor?
No, I think because we've done all the TV stuff.
Yeah, but there could be something else you think is worth mentioning, or
I think the classic Star Trek reviews. I think we've got some good ones coming up. Or I think the one that'll be coming up this week.
The one that's coming up this week for Patreon, because the patrons get it a week early.
Yes.
I
lose track of where we are.
Is a good one.
Yeah, leave that all to you.
We've recorded that already. That's coming in Monday Sunday. Sorry, for patrons. I forget which day they go up. So you can look forward to that. As is Leftovers, however, the new one for patrons goes up on Monday, which is new, and YouTube gets the regular one on Monday as well. Which, by the way, is coming, because obviously we did miss a week. So the new one that we recorded is in Patreon already. It'll be up on YouTube, just in case. This is the weird thing, when we have to skip a week because the schedule gets too busy or something, like Leftovers. Because it was up a week early on Patreon, it doesn't actually skip a week on YouTube that week, because it's already there from the previous week.
A different week.
Yeah, so it's actually the following week that it skips on YouTube, but Patreon's already skipped a week. It's weird. It's actually kind of confusing sometimes when I'm trying to work out when things go up.
It's a little bit spotty at the moment with the amount. I mean, we had to drop The Exorcist. There's so much TV that we're scheduling problems.
Yeah, but at least with something like an older show like that, I mean, it's not that old now. It's finished a few months ago.
It's finished. It's not time sensitive.
Yeah, we don't feel like we're losing anything out by putting it up, later or whatever. We can take a week off and not.
But we do apologise for the inconsistencies.
Oh, of course, yeah. I'm someone who I hate when we're not consistent. When something is late, it boils my blood.
Yeah,
it really does.
They should just stop putting out so much goddamn TV, shouldn't they? Let's concentrate.
Our 121 in Flux review for this week. Now, again, the public one went up because that was it from last week, but the one that was meant to go up early for Patreon still not up because we've still not had a chance to do it because, it's Connor's fault on this particular occasion. But I'm blaming him anyway.
I mean, it was public transport's fault, but yeah.
Aye, because you sleeping like an absolute coma patient last night helped matters, did it?
Look, just to be fair,
Because
the
actually, I want to
night.
point out the plan for Friday, because we were supposed to do the news on Thursday a day early. The plan for Friday was to get ahead on Mindhunter so that we'd have some banked up, so that we'd definitely have some for the next few days. That did not happen because Connor decided to sleep like a coma patient for about 15 hours.
Look, I just want to clarify. The night before, I got like 2.5 hours sleep. I went and did a 9 hour shift at work that was very physically exhaustive. I came in, literally sat down and did the Mr. Robot review. That was literally, I did that, and then I went to bed. I didn't
Like,
even eat.
I'll give you credit. The priority got done. I'll give you that.
I was like, no, I am talking about Mr. Robot.
But
Anything else be damned. And then I went to bed. I slept through 3 of my own alarms, my girlfriend getting into bed, her 4 alarms in the morning, her getting out of bed. I don't know what happened.
the point is that several things get knocked back. Channel Zero, which we recorded before this, is still not up. It's usually up on a Thursday, and now it'll be up late on a
Look,
Friday.
I'm worried for my own health. I slept longer than I have ever done, and I genuinely feel like something's wrong.
You keep messing with my carefully planned schedule. You will be worried for your own life.
I think I was just dreaming of pogs.
Oh, God, back to pogs.
I wasn't.
All right. Yeah. So we mentioned Patreon. Yeah. If you obviously we mentioned at the start, we sort of slightly mentioned that we were complaining about YouTube taking away our adverts. But yeah, so if you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/MaileFuzzTV. You know, you're supporting the news video, you're supporting all the TV reviews, you're supporting all the movie shows we do. If you enjoy any of this stuff, and obviously we're on the news show, so you obviously, if you're watching at this point and you've not quit during the porg section, you definitely enjoy this show. And especially, you know, if you were someone, because we've got an audio feed for this now, if you listen to it that way, you know, like you never even got adverts anyway. So, you know, if you want to, you can go to Patreon and support
And also,
us.
if you do like this news video, then you'll probably like us doing a movie news version as well, because it's going to be equally as shambolic, I assume.
Yeah, that's the first goal, which is getting kind of close. And this is something I don't think I say this often enough. If you do want to like help out, but you feel like, oh, I can't really afford much, that's okay. You know, $1 is everything. Like $1 is super appreciated. You don't have to feel like, oh, I need to do one of the higher tiers. Yeah, there's bonus stuff in those higher tiers for people who do want to like throw money at us, but you do not have to feel like you know, $1 is more than you would ever give to us if you watched like 50 adverts on our channel a month. Like, so don't even like that. That is $1 is so appreciated. You don't even have to worry about it. So don't worry. It's fine. Anyway, so yeah, we're always grateful for even just watching, showing up and liking and stuff and commenting. All of it helps. So thank you very much once again for all of that. But that is us. So we will see you next time. Keep watching TV. Have you got any vanilla?